In ZePRA 13, we have added a new flows module. This video gives you an overview of its functionalities. In ZePRA, we offer powerful configurations to color convert files, but you need to decide which queue and configuration to use to convert your files. This can be error-prone, and it requires manual user intervention, and the amount of configurations and queues will be quite high. To automate, you can use high-end automation solutions such as hybrid Cloudflow or Focus Switch, into which ZePRA can easily be integrated. But quite often you want to do just simple things. The new Flows module was developed to apply simple rules within ZePRA to automate file processing and, as a side effect, reduce the number of queues and hot folders. So let's take a look at a simple and frequently performed task: converting customer files on a digital press and saving on inks. In the Auto Setup wizard, select the new mode Link to Configurations. Select the two configurations that you wish to convert with. In this case, first the configuration that converts from a standard profile like PSO uncoated to your digital press loaded with uncoated stock, and the second configuration would apply Save Ink. Both configurations need to be created in ZePRA upfront, but do not require to have queues, because the Auto Setup will create a dedicated queue for this flow in the process. Now the flow and the queue is set up. In the Overview dialog, flows are identified by a dedicated orange flow icon. For better distinction, configurations have their own blue icon now. Processing of files in a flow works the same as with configurations. Simply open the input folder and throw in your files, and they will be converted immediately. In the output folder, we see the converted result, and the two configuration names have been added to the file name automatically. How does our flow look like? Double-click on the flow in the Overview dialog to open the Define Flows dialog. You can also use the sidebar and navigate from there. Each flow carries a name and contains one or more processing rules. The core of a flow are the processing rules. There could be one or multiple rules. A rule can be created with new and edited by double-clicking. A rule includes one or more conditions. Here we just need one condition that should be applied to all files coming to that flow. So the condition is set to always. If a condition is met, a procedure can be defined, which will be executed. In my case, I have selected the Apply Configuration option and selected the desired configuration via this little button. You see, here are many more procedures that can be selected from the drop-down. Some of them will be explained later in this video. Furthermore, the next step after the procedure has been carried out must be declared. In this case, I want to use the next step, which is the second rule. In the case that the condition is not fulfilled, an alternative procedure and an alternative next step can also be defined, which is not needed here. The second rule should apply ink saving. Here again, the condition should be valid for all files, and the operation is to apply the desired Save Ink configuration. That is all, and it's that easy to set up. Of course, you can add more processing rules in the flow. So let's fine-tune our flow. If I wish that the first color-converted file is saved out for reference, I can set up a new rule for this with the operation Copy Files. I define the folder where the converted file before ink saving shall be saved to. A rule needs a name, hence I enter something on top. Obviously, we need to set up that rule right after the first conversion step, because ZePRA processes the files in a flow from top to the bottom. You can either use drag and drop or right-click and using the context menu to move the step at the desired position. Now let's convert the file again. We see that the intermediate conversion is saved in the specified folder, and if we open the converted file alongside the ink save file, we can compare the visual results. We see that the Save Ink variant looks identical to the converted variant, which is our intention. But looking at the separations, we can see that the Save Ink variant considerably uses less inks, which is what we wanted. With the help of the copy files procedure, we can be sure that our flow not only works properly, but that the conversion is also of good quality. Now we want to optimize our flow even further. In order to get great prints on our digital press that meet customer expectations, we want to print delivered PDF files intended for a larger color gamut on coated paper and those files with a smaller color gamut on uncoated stock. Therefore, with a dedicated condition, we can check the output intent of the incoming files to route them accordingly. All this can be done in one flow. Have a look how you can set this up. I'm using a copy of the previous example which I have prepared already with the additional rules. The first rule that should convert to the digital press on uncoated stock has been enriched with two output intent conditions. As you can see, there are two conditions for two typical uncoated ICC profiles we want to check the file against. You can add more conditions in profiles with the plus sign. The filter logic is set to OR, which means that if one of the two profiles is found in the PDF file, the condition is fulfilled. In that case, I want the uncoated color conversion configuration to be applied. And the next step should be the following processing rule that copies the files to the defined folder and the Save Ink step, as in our example before. In case the desired output intents are not in the PDF files, step 4 should be used. Step 4 is an additional rule that checks the output intents of typical coated standard profiles, such as ISO-coated version 2 or PSO-coated version 3, and if the condition is met, the coated conversion configuration shall be applied. And the rest is the same as above, only for the coated paper stock. Similar to configurations, flows can be created with or without a queue and managed in the same way. Hence, I must assign this new flow to my queue to take effect. I do this in the Define Queues dialog. Note that in the Renamed Processing drop-down, configurations and flows are listed together. And you will find the flows at the bottom, below the configurations and the custom tags. To test the flow, I will be using the same PDF file as before, but I have created a copy with a different output intent so that we have two PDFs with different output intents. After processing, we can check the converted files in the output folder. And we can use the job properties report for one job to see if the files have been processed correctly. In the section Processing Information, we find our 3 processing rules that have been applied, and we can see that this file with the PSO-coded version 3 profile embedded was properly recognized and processed within the coded conversion and Save Ink configuration. Another example how to use the flow module is to automate the spot color report functionality. The spot color report is a great manual feature that we have in ZePrA to check PDF files before processing how spot colors will be converted to processings and which configuration gives the best result. Now imagine you could automatically create spot color reports for all your PDF files without manual user intervention. This is possible with flows. I have already prepared such a flow. When I process a series of PDF files, the result in the output folder are the spot color reports of all these files. Let us look at how this flow was created. You see the flow has just 2 rules. The first contains the selection of the configurations with spot color conversion enabled we want to check. We define which delta E sorting and final format of the report we want. And the second rule I will enable now is a bit particular because it uses a special selection for the configuration to be applied. You can either type in the command $best configuration or you select the last entry in the configuration drop-down menu. This makes sure that each file is processed with the best fitting configuration according to the results of the spot color report and places the converted files in the flow output folder. Let us convert the files again, and let's have a look at the output folder. You will see the spot color report files and the converted PDFs. And even better, the name of the used configuration will be added to the converted PDF file name for better recognition. Here's another flow. When converting pixel files such as TIFF, JPEG or PSD, you would typically want to convert them with a direct conversion configuration in ZePrA, while PDF files typically undergo a normalize and convert configuration. Even if this is easy to manage manually with two distinct queues, with flows you can reduce it to one queue and let ZePrA route the files automatically for you. How does it work? You would set up a processing rule that filters pixel files with the following settings. Simply use the file type condition with the is1off filter and type in all the typical pixel file formats that you work with and that ZePrA supports with a blank space between. In my case, to make this flow even more interesting, I added a second condition to make sure that only images with more than 5 MB of size gets converted. Smaller files should be enlarged to 250 dpi in the dimension of 15 centimeters in width, which is defined in the selected enlarge configuration here, that shall be applied in this case. I want the rule to check that both conditions are true, hence the filter logic must be set to end. The second rule would again check the input file for the file type, and if it is a pixel file, ZePrA should use an output configuration for the conversion to the target color space. The third rule will get in action if we want to convert PDF files. If the file type is equal to PDF, then we want to apply a normalize and convert configuration. Otherwise, if jobs that are neither PDF nor pixel files, we want to generate a job error, and we can even specify how the error message should be named. In my case, I want the message wrong file format to appear. This error will act as a typical job error in ZePrA, and the job will be marked red and the file will be placed in the error folder of the flow. This is a nice example of a simple file type routing with additional image treatment possibilities with ZePrA 13. This gives me the possibility to mention another new feature in ZePrA 13, which I have used in my enlarge configuration. This configuration does not apply any color conversion and only enlarges images. In the new Image Quality tab, the Enhanced Resolution section allows changing the image resolution by adding thresholds for downscaling and upscaling. Previously, only a downscaling of the image resolution was possible. Now it's also possible to upscale. The first checkbox defines the desired resolution, and at least one of the threshold checkboxes must be enabled too. In order that all images, regardless of their original resolution, are set to 200 dpi, I enable both checkboxes and use a threshold of 250 dpi everywhere. Another new section called Image Dimension is available for resizing image files. In my case, I want that all image files end up with 200 dpi, and the width of all images should proportionally be scaled to 15 centimeters. With these examples, we want to give you an overview of the new automation options that ZePrA 13 offers with the Flows module. There are many more rules available, such as embedding CXF X4 spectral data for spot colors, or routing for file names, and even applying regular expressions is possible for you to try out and experience. Let us know what you've done with Flows and how it worked for you.